Hi, boys and girls. Welcome to another edition of Nurse Judie's Story Time. So I know earlier I showed you the picture of this new book that I got, and it's bedtime stories. It's Disney bedtime stories. So I was really excited to get this. And one of my favorite Disney movies that they came out with a long, long time ago was The Little Mermaid. We all remember that song, and I just want to sing a little bit of it because I love it so much. Maybe you can sing it with me. When she goes in and she says, "Look at this stuff, isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think I'm a girl who has everything?" Love that song. Whenever it comes on, I always want to sing it. It's just my favorite, that's all. And then I want to go on. I've got gizmos and gadgets aplenty. I've got who's its and what's its galore. You want thingamabobs? I got 20. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. I want to be where the people are. Dee 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 dee. Okay, enough. Sorry. I really love that song. It's like my favorite. So this is The Little Mermaid, Sweet Dreams at Last. So here we go. So I hope you enjoy this one too. Disney Princess, The Little Mermaid, Sweet Dreams at Last. It was a bright, sunny morning, and everyone in the royal castle was wide awake and ready to begin a brand new day. Everyone, that is, except Princess Ariel. Ever since she had become a human, Ariel had had trouble falling asleep at night. And the night before had been no different. Yawning, Ariel made her way to the balcony for breakfast. But as soon as she sat down, her sleepy eyes began to close, and plop! Her head drooped into her oatmeal bowl. Ariel jolted awake. "Not again," she groaned. During the day, an exhausted Ariel had been falling asleep in the most unusual places. In the royal garden, in a rowboat, even on the beach. But at night, Ariel tossed and turned. No matter how hard she tried, she couldn't fall asleep in her own bed. There she is. It looks like she's having breakfast with Eric. And there's little Sebastian there. And here she is, falling asleep on the fountain out in the garden. Oh my goodness. Poor Ariel. So tired. Everyone had tried to help. Grimsby fluffed her pillows until they were as light and puffy as clouds. "There," he declared. "Lay your head down on this, Your Highness, and see if you don't fall right to sleep." Ariel climbed into the cozy bed, but still didn't sleep. Eric suggested reading before bed, since it always helped him sleep. So Ariel collected stacks and stacks of books from the palace library and carried them up to her bedroom. By the next morning, she had learned all about gardening, knitting, and building complicated sandcastles. But she still hadn't slept a wink. Look at all those pillows that Grimsby brought in for her. And here she is instead, reading all night long because she just couldn't sleep. "Have you tried counting dolphins?" Flounder asked Ariel the next day when she went to visit him. "No, but I'll try that tonight," Ariel replied. Later, she'd counted an ocean's worth of dolphins. But instead of sleeping, Ariel just felt homesick. "I wish there was some way we could help Ariel sleep better," Prince Eric said to himself the next morning at breakfast. Sebastian shook his head sadly. She never had trouble falling asleep back in Atlantica, he thought. Perhaps if her new bedroom were more like her old one, Ariel's problem would be solved. That gave Sebastian an idea, and suddenly he knew just what to do. And here she is talking to Flounder, and there's Sebastian. See here, he's talking to Prince Eric. What an awesome book. I love this. That afternoon, Prince Eric suggested that he and Ariel go out on his boat for a long, relaxing sail. "Oh, that sounds wonderful," Ariel agreed. The royal schooner was readied and the anchor was raised. Before they had even cast off, Ariel began to yawn. "Where should we sail, my dear?" Eric asked. "Ariel?" But when Eric turned to her, he saw that Ariel had already fallen asleep on some coils of rigging rope. There she is, fast asleep on the rope. Poor Eric. Poor Ariel. By the time Ariel and Eric returned to the castle, the sun was beginning to set, and Ariel was well rested from her long afternoon nap. As they walked up the palace steps, Ariel spotted Sebastian with a man carrying a large trunk. "Hello, Sebastian," Ariel called to her crustacean friend. "Won't you have dinner with us tonight?" I'm afraid I can't, Your Highness," Sebastian said. "I have some, important work to do this evening before it's time to go to sleep." At last, the sky filled with twinkling stars, and it was time to say good night. Ariel climbed the stairs and reached her bedroom, just as Sebastian was tiptoeing out. He bowed and eagerly held open the door for the princess. And here she is inviting Sebastian to dinner, and now she's gone up to her bedroom to go to bed for the night. And here comes Sebastian. See him coming out, bowing to her. And he opens the door. "Surprise!" shouted Sebastian. "My things!" cried Ariel. "How did they get here?" "I thought having them nearby might help you sleep better, Your Highness," Sebastian said with a smile. Everywhere Ariel looked, she saw something from her old undersea room. A bouquet of deep-sea blossoms, her mother-of-pearl comb, her treasured music box. "Oh, thank you," cried Ariel happily. And look, she has all her things in her bedroom there. Isn't that wonderful that he did that for her? Oh, my goodness. Ariel said good night to Sebastian and snuggled into bed. Sebastian waited for an hour, then peeked into Ariel's room to make sure she was asleep. But when he opened the door, Sebastian found Ariel sitting up in bed, wide awake. She still couldn't fall asleep. "I guess missing my things wasn't the problem after all," said Ariel with a sigh. "Being a human is harder than I thought." "There's one more thing we can try," Sebastian said, climbing up to the music box. He opened the lid and waited for it to play a slow, sweet tune. But nothing happened. Sebastian looked inside. "Aha," he said, spotting the problem. "A big, lumpy pink shell." He moved to toss it aside, but Ariel quickly took it from his claws. I wonder what that pink shell meant to her. Guess we're going to find out, aren't we? Ariel smiled as she held the shell up to her ear and heard the ocean waves. "The sea," she sighed. Then Ariel yawned. "You know, I'm feeling really sleepy. Maybe I'll just..." She snuggled beneath the covers, this time with the shell pressed gently against her ear, and before Sebastian could even leave the room, Ariel was fast asleep. Sebastian tiptoed out of her room. "Excuse me." "Good night, Princess," he whispered, "and sweet dreams." She snuggled beneath the covers, this time with the shell pressed gently against her ear, and before Sebastian could even leave the room, Ariel was fast asleep. Sebastian tiptoed out of her room. "Good night, Princess," he whispered, "and sweet dreams to you at last." Good night, boys and girls. I hope you have sweet dreams, and I'll see you next time on Nurse Judie's Story Time. Bye-bye.